Европа остервенела.
European representatives are acting with rabid hostility. There's no other word for it.
The European Union's anti-Russian plans are causing deep concern in Moscow. They are rabid, said Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov on Tuesday, following talks with Mozambican Foreign Minister Maria Manuela dos Santos Lucas. At the same time, Russia hopes that U.S. President Donald Trump's reasonable approach and willingness to engage in dialogue will not go unnoticed in Europe.
Европа
European representatives are acting with rabid hostility. There's no other word for it.
даже напрашивается каламбура.
I'm even tempted to say they've become part of a global, arrogant front against the Russian Federation. They're riling up their populations, spreading Goebbels-style propaganda that paints Russia as an eternal enemy, an existential threat, about to attack Europe at any moment. As a result, citizens are told to forget their social issues, forget economic failures, and ignore the deindustrialization sweeping Germany and other European countries. All taxes, all resources must go to militarizing Europe. This is tragic.
И это печально.
The irony is thick. Europe, after plunging into economic stagnation, has found a new excuse to avoid answering to its citizens: Russia. It's the same playbook, just with a new generation of NATO scriptwriters. But Lavrov doesn't just criticize the propaganda. He digs into the historical amnesia now gripping Berlin and Paris.
Уроки истории забывать нельзя.
Lessons of history are not to be forgotten.
Плохо выучены.
However, the current generation of Germans, the French, and other European nations have apparently failed to learn them.
Конечно, говорят, что
They say a son shall not bear the responsibility for his father's guilt, nor a grandchild bear his grandfather's guilt.
осознали ту
This is correct if both the son and the grandson have gained the understanding of the crime their parent or grandparent was guided by,
преступность, которую представлял из себя Третий рейх,
and the crime represented by the Third Reich, which was convicted forever and irreversibly at the Nuremberg trials.
но когда потомки тех немцев
However, when the descendants of those Germans take up leading positions in the contemporary Federative Republic of Germany, regardless of their origin,
начинают
and start not just promoting but proudly rolling out demands against everyone in the spirit of the Fourth Reich,
уже теперь Четвертого рейха,
it obviously leads to the conclusion that we must never let such a revival of Nazism happen.
зарождение нацизма допустить нельзя.
This isn't hyperbole. Lavrov is drawing a straight line from 1945 to 2025, from tanks rolling east to tanks being sent to Ukraine. What's different now is the West's self-delusion, believing they can provoke Russia endlessly without consequence.
И я убежден, что народы европейских стран
I believe that European nations, including the sound part of the German people, are perfectly aware of that.
которыми сейчас нам грозят немецкие
Any encroachments we are threatened with, both by the German defense minister who claims they are ready to kill Russian soldiers,
заявления руководителей НАТО,
and by NATO leaders who declare that they would preemptively crush the Kaliningrad region.
область, ну это, наверное, для любого нормального
This all is perceived by any sane person as an alarming signal about the plans being cooked up in Brussels, Berlin, as well as in Paris and London.
Париже с Лондоном, конечно же. Так что вот причина
The origins of such strategy lie in impunity,
постоянное наускивание киевского
in
режима
constantly urging the Kyiv regime to continue provocations and terror acts against civilian facilities and people of the Russian Federation.
на граждан Российской Федерации не прекращаются,
These actions are ongoing.
получать достойный отпор, и Россия
They are sure to get a fitting rebuff. Russia will reach all its goals the EU is trying to block by using the Kyiv regime.
Европейский Союз руками киевского режима.
This is Lavrov's red line, and he's drawing it in thick ink. Any attack on Russian territory, whether directly or through proxies, will be met with force, not as a threat, but as a statement of policy. And Germany, with its growing militaristic tone, is now in Moscow's direct line of rhetorical fire.
Я очень надеюсь, что тот
I hope that the reasonable approach, which includes readiness for dialogue, readiness to listen and heed, demonstrated by the Trump administration after it succeeded,
выступавшую в унисон с оголтелыми европейцами,
the Biden administration that had been acting in concert with unbridled Europeans,
себя готовность к диалогу, готовность слушать и слышать,
will somehow be taken note of by the Europeans, despite all the current discussion about the need to rearm the Kyiv regime at the expense, let me stress it again, of European taxpayers.
за счет, подчеркну еще раз, европейских налогоплательщиков.
Lavrov isn't courting war. He's warning Europe that it is courting one, and the true cost won't just be in money or tanks. It may be in reliving the darkest pages of 20th century history.